Hi guys, today I'm going to show you the drills that I've been using over the years to reduce my plantar fasciitis pain and actually completely get rid of it, and also to strengthen my feet to prevent this coming back in the future. Alright, so what we're doing now is a plantar flexion stretch. I'm going to show you guys different variations depending on how tight your feet may be. The first variation is very simple. You can hold on to something for balance, so you don't have to worry about that. And you simply place your foot behind you in order to get that stretch on the top of the foot. For some people, this will be enough. The next stage after this is to simply place the foot in line or slightly in front of you with a bent knee, and you'll feel that stretch all the way up the foot and maybe even up the tibialis anterior. Now, the next step is working our way up. So if this is comfortable, then you can move this into a straightened leg and a bent leg. So you're moving between straight leg and bent leg just by squeezing the quad and relaxing. And then if you find that easy, then you can take it one step further, which is to actually hinge forward as you do the stretch. And if any of you feel like that's easy, then this will actually help a lot more. So this is much more intense, and that's what we're doing. So really what we're aiming for here is, if you're doing a passive stretch, then aiming for about 30 seconds. If that's too painful, obviously reduce the amount that you're doing it for and just do what you can handle and take breaks and then go back to it. But if you're going into the reps in different variations, we're going to aim roughly for about 10 reps, 2 to 3 times. All right, so the next thing we're doing is a foot massage using the 8-ball. So we're simply using the shape of the 8-ball to push down. So because this has a little bit of give, you can really push your weight into it. And we're going to try to get the size of your feet as well. So obviously we're working that tissue right underneath the foot here, which is the tissue that gets quite inflamed. But you also want to not neglect the edges of your feet. So we're going to basically spend about 1 to 2 minutes per foot massaging all the way around before we move on to the next type of massage. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is massage the tissue all the way up this foot. So you're taking your thumbs and you're digging yourself in. This might be painful if you do have plantar fasciitis, so take your time to slowly increase the pressure. We're just working our way up, and we're going to spend 1 to 2 minutes doing this, and then you're going to switch it up and actually go across the foot and spend 1 to 2 minutes going across. And you'll find when you bring your big toe back into extension, this will tighten up, so that could get harder to massage and press down on when you bring your toe back. So to begin with, make sure your feet are nice and soft, and yeah, take your time before you start slowly bringing the toe back as you do this. Alright, so next is probably the best stretch I've ever done for my plantar fasciitis, but you first need to be a bit warm to do this. So you're going to bring your big toes back and actually hold onto your foot with your hand, so it kind of forces your toes back. You'll notice obviously this is very tight already, but just go back only as far as you feel comfortable. And then here with your heel, you want to push that heel up with your other hand. So obviously I could do it like this, but giving me that extra element of going into ankle dorsiflexion and big toe extension while I pull my foot in and out of this stretch really makes a difference. And because this is so intense here, going for just a few moments, even just a second and back out, is helpful. And as you go along, you can increase that intensity, and you'll find over the coming weeks and months you'll be able to go further. If at the beginning you're only going a tiny bit, that's okay. In the beginning I didn't go very far either, and it took me quite some time before I could start stretching it in a different way. Alright, so the next thing we're doing is rolling the tibialis anterior and the calves. Something that happens quite often with shin splints is the tibialis anterior gets pretty sore. So this could be sore if you are recently having issues with that. So take your time with adding pressure, but do make sure that you're doing this on a regular basis if this is something that you struggle with. Okay, so with this, you can do this either on the floor like I'm doing, or you can grab a box and actually stand in front of it if you find it hard to stay on the floor. The idea here is you stop before you end up at the knee, and here you stop before you end up at the ankle. It's pretty simple, and you're just going to work your way around. Obviously, if you go directly forward, you're just going to end up rolling the bone, and that just aches. So try not to do that. Try to be slightly off to the side so you can get into that meaty part of the muscle. And again, we're doing this for 1 to 2 minutes per side. So with the calves, it's simple. With the 8-ball, what I like about this is it manages to help you get into those hard to get spots. So using a foam roller doesn't quite get as far into these areas as a peanuts type shape release ball. And I like to work my way up in sections so I can get basically all the bottom of my calf here released. And if I find like a particular spot, like a pressure point, I'll lean most of my weight into there. I can, for additional pressure, add the other leg on top, and then I'm going to circle my feet 3 times one way, 3 times the other way, and I'll continue doing that until it releases. This could be too tough to do in the beginning and too painful, but you might find after several weeks of doing this regularly you can get a little bit deeper with more pressure and be able to handle things like that. So now that I've done the bottom section, I'm doing the middle of the calf, working my way around all the tight spots, and same exact thing again. Once I find a pressure point, I'll put the other leg on top and do some ankle circles slowly, several times in one direction, several times in the other. And feel free to spend as long as you need on each section. This is just the speed at which I'm doing it today. And I in particular have more issues at the top of my calf, so I spend more time here. And this is usually something that takes, you know, more than 2 minutes, maybe like 3-4 minutes even, if I've particularly done an activity to set this off. And then again, same thing. Circles once you get yourself on that pressure point. Alright, so next we're going to stretch and strengthen the calves. If you have not stretched them yet, feel free to do 30 to 60 seconds of simply a passive stretch on each side. Once you're done with that, then we can move on to the 3 stance calf raises that we're going to be doing on a deficit. Also, if you find this too much, you can do it on a flat surface, but I'm going to show you the version that I want you to be able to work towards. So simply standing on any edge, you can stand on a step and hold on to something for balance. You don't want to be worried about falling over while you're doing this. We're going to begin using a ball between the ankles so that we can stabilize, so that you don't end up rolling out on your ankles. So this is just being put in between my ankles there. Just going to get over to the edge. I'm going to allow my heels to drop into that stretch, and I'm coming up and pausing for a second up top before I come back down. I'm beginning with 5 reps only, with 1 second pauses at the top, with an optional 5-second isometric at the top on the last rep to really squeeze and get that activation in. So I'm going to do that for 2 sets to begin with, if I'm a beginner and if I've got sore feet and ankles and lower legs. And then the next version is we're going to have our toes pointing towards each other and our heels pointing out, and we're doing the same thing. So going into that deficit, stretching, going up, pausing for 1 second, and then coming back down. And we're going to do this for, again, 5 reps to begin with a 5-second isometric at the top on the last rep. Okay, and then we're going to do 2 rounds of that. The next one we're moving on to is heels together, feet out. So heels are coming down into that stretch. Again, 5 reps, 2 sets to begin with that 1 second isometric at the top on each rep, and at the end of that 5 reps we are holding for 5 seconds. Okay. So that rep range was just for beginners. Obviously you can increase that gradually as you go along. So the next thing that we're doing is some negative reps for your Achilles. So if you come down, again you want to hold on to something, and I'm using both my feet to come up. Then I'm lifting off, going into a very slow negative on just this one leg. So coming up with both, lifting up really slowly on the way down on that other leg. And again, I'm doing 5 of these to begin with for 2 sets on each leg. So now we're doing the exact same thing. You can actually use a step for this, or you can use a wedge if you have one. So you're coming up with both feet, lifting your other foot off, allowing all your weight to slowly go down eccentrically in this rep. And you can use different tempos. You can begin with 3 seconds down, work your way up to 10 seconds down. You can make it really, really slow and increase your strength in the entire range. All right, so the next thing we're doing is simply a controlled jump, and you want to do this barefoot, ideally using your toe spacers so that your bones are spread out a little bit while you're doing it. And you can also hold on to something if you want, it really doesn't matter. The whole point is you're just explosive with your jump. Thanks for watching, guys. We hope you found that useful. If you did and you want more information to work with, head over to our website, and at the very bottom in the footers page you will find a freebie section, and there you have a bunch of different things to choose from. Things like challenges, information packs, and free workouts. All right, so the next thing we're doing is we're going to massage up this tissue. So we're just working our fingers deep. A dog ass on my foot.